Well, we were wondering whether or not the House and the Senate would read the Washington Post from last week. We were wondering, do they read? Yes, they read. It's a load off for me. Although, you would never know if the media read or not, because there was like a blackout on media coverage with this Cheney story. You know what the Cheney story is. Last week in the Washington Post, there was a front page story about Vice President Dick Cheney and his attempts to close his office to inspections conducted by a security oversight group from the National Archives who are charged by the President of the United States, by this President of the United States, to do inspections of how the President, his office, and the Vice President, his office, handle classified national intelligence secrets. Just to make sure that they're really, really safe and no one can get them. And Dick Cheney decided a couple of things about this inspection. First, he decided, okay, come on in, boys. And they did inspect his office in 2001 and 2002. No problem, right? Right. 2003, the year that Valerie Plame's outing was made known, that was the year that Dick Cheney said, I will not subject my office to inspections to see how I handle classified national intelligence secrets. And if you push me on this, I will abolish the entire office that does the inspections. They call it ISO. It's a security organization inside the National Archives that just likes to do oversight to make sure that the President and the Vice President are complying with the Presidential Records Act and that all pages are saved and all national security is protected. After he was unable to abolish the inspector's office, he decided that he would put some tortured legal conclusion on the table for Congress to chew on, this basically, and his tortured legal conclusion by virtue of the man that you know nothing about, this guy, Mr. Addington, who is Cheney's lawyer and now chief of staff since Scooter's been busted for obstruction of justice and perjury and, various felonies. So now Addington is his chief of staff, and Addington writes these tortured legal conclusions. The ones that say rendition is fine, national, security doesn't have to be overseen by anybody, Cheney's word is good enough. The one that said you can open Gitmo, the one that set up military tribunals, the one that said torture is fine, the one that actually came up with, I know we all think that Alberto Gonzalez said that Geneva was quaint. Turns out that's a lie, too. Wasn't exactly, Alberto said it, but he said it after Addington wrote it. So there's this whole shadow government going on inside our government, inside Cheney's office, and now the Vice President has said that he is not part of the executive branch. That he is a rogue nation and basically needs to be invaded if you want to, and no one wants to do that. Look at that man. Look at Cheney. Do you want to invade him? I don't want to invade him. I'd like to overthrow him, but if that requires invasion, count me out. I'm not doing it. I can't go there. Can't do it. It's Monday. Ew. And I thought about it over the weekend. Even we all went out and got drunkety drunk to talk about whether or not anybody and we all decided. Miss Hipple said, no, I can't. I wouldn't. Even, Eric, who's new and wants to do anything he can. I said, all right, your job is to invade Cheney. Oh, no, Randy, I can't. Please. Is it really my job description? No, but I'm asking. So the decision by Vice President Cheney to exempt his office from the executive branch has gotten the legislators freaked out. And I'm talking Trent Lott, too. Everybody's like, he can't really be saying that, can he? We all agree he's part of the executive branch, don't we? Yes, we do, but what do you mean he's not? Well, the Senate, Trent Lott, they don't want to claim him. He's saying that because sometimes he has to break a tie and act as the president of the Senate, that he's part of the Senate. Well, I'll tell you what, President Bush has now exempted himself from his own executive order. I don't know if you saw that. There was only one article about it in the LA Times. That was it. It was like on Friday, and nobody picked it up. I mean, it wasn't anywhere. Most of the media isn't even pursuing these Cheney stories, because maybe they don't want to end up in a man-sized safe at the bottom of the reflecting pool, which is now part of a 4-part series that the Washington Post ran with over the weekend. They did 2 parts. And if you go to airamerica.com and click on the Randi Rhodes Show, it'll take you to my website. On my website, I am pleading with you to read this 4-part series. Only 2 parts so far. Only 2 parts. So if you catch up now, there'll only be a part tomorrow, and then a part after that, and then you're done. And then you'll know that we're not a democracy anymore. That Dick Cheney despises the democracy, doesn't like it, and won't. And that the President of the United States is not unaware. Oh no, there's no plausible deniability. He's allowing it. He's actually going along with it. And that Cheney is really running the government. And Cheney's lawyers have been, and now his chief of staff, both of them have been. They leak what they want to leak. They conceal what they want to conceal. There are stories in this 2-part series so far. It's a 4-part series. There are stories in here that I swear to God you will think that you are living in a communist country. You'll know that it's already happened here. You'll get it. You'll totally understand it. The documents are included in clickable links inside the article. You can read what they wrote. You can see what happened. People are now discussing it out loud who used to work in the administration, who don't work there anymore. And they are saying we were retaliated against. There's a man named Bellinger in this article that it was unbelievable. I mean, Colin Powell says he wasn't consulted on, this whole thing about Geneva. Condoleezza Rice, she wasn't consulted on this whole thing about Geneva. Being quaint and all, that came straight from David Addington. But the weirdest part of the whole story is we always thought it came from Gonzo, right? Well, it turns out that the way this worked was that Cheney's office decided that they would make Gonzo sign the piece of paper for the president over his name, saying that the Geneva Conventions were quaint, that this was a new war that required new tactics, and that we had never in our lives seen such a thing, and so this is why we had to torture people, and this is why we had to wiretap people, and everything was obsolete now. It was Gonzalez's name that was on the document, and it said, the war against terrorism is a new kind of war, and that the Geneva Convention is quaint, and that Colin Powell is defending obsolete rules devised for another time, not this time. And then shortly after that, they smeared Powell, saying that Powell wanted to get the detainees in Guantanamo. What did they say? He wanted that Powell wanted all sorts of amenities for them, including exercise rooms and canteens. So the members of the administration that were saying you cannot opt out of Geneva, it's not an option for us. It's not. You can't do that. They were smeared. In the paper, they were leaking from Cheney's offices. They were leaking, Colin Powell wants to give them athletic gear. He wants to give them, a day at the beach. He wants to give them, canteens and, places to shop. He wants to build a mall for these prisoners. And the other creepy thing about these articles is that apparently the way things worked was they didn't go through any of the processes that we have in the Oval Office and the West Wing of the White House, where president or even a vice president desires some legislation, and it's vetted by the staff of the president, and it's gone over by the attorneys, and it's gone over by the State Department if they're affected, if it had to do with, anything that could affect diplomacy. And it's gone over by the Department of Defense if it's anything to do with war. Well, apparently what Cheney would do is Cheney would write what he wanted to write, have it drawn up by his lawyer. The president would be standing by to sign whatever it was, and the president would sign it. And nobody else would look at it. Nobody.